And if you've been wondering why things have felt so crazy, so out of control over the last couple weeks, tune in. Astro Monday, we're going to be talking about exactly why and what's coming up. We are in Virgo season. We're also in the season when we told you that things were going to go crazy and wild. Things in this Virgo season from the 1st of September through to November 18th is what we've been talking about for 9 months, and it is here. It is, the life is being pounded at us, and things are happening. Control for control's sake, and it's starting to show up everywhere. So hang in here, and waiting for our sun to say serious joy. Please, in the comments, put down your sun, your moon, and your rising. If you know your degree, that's even better. And have you been feeling it? Since we came out of Mercury retrograde last week, have you been feeling it? For those of you guys who know, we got a censorship, and it's almost gone. Our volume's going up again. But it came in the very first day of Mercury retrograde, and our solution came the very last day. Can you imagine that, huh? So put down your sun, your moon, and your rising right down in the comments there. And over here, hit that button and send this off to a friend. Send it off to a neighbor. Send it off to someone you like, someone you don't like. Today's your birthday. Oh my gosh. You're a Capricorn version of a Virgo. You're a teacher. If your birthday's today, you're probably a teacher of embodiment. You're probably bringing embodiment. You're probably always helping people in their body. Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer. Let's see here. Let's go. Glad to see you. Yes. Hey, Stuff Mary does. Come into Los Angeles. If you haven't got your tickets yet, get your tickets to Los Angeles. And if you're in a position and you want to be with us, we're taking 16 people in a super VIP experience. It's a donation dinner. And what we're going to be doing is spending an afternoon moving with you, working with you, and cooking with you as a part of it. And it's 16 people only. It's an $8,000 ticket. Now, this is meant to help us fund the mission going forward and giving back. So rather than just a standard donation, we're creating a whole program. Check it out on our website. 26 Libra Sun. 25 Libra Moon. Yes. 25 Aries. 8. Wow. May 21st. That's 0 degree. Gemini. Hi, TJ. My birthday is coming up. Thursday. Oh, Thursday would be, today is Monday. So 1, 2, 3 days. So Thursday will be 21. Oh, smoker. You're just like me. You're trying to find answers and solutions to help people, especially in their body. Step 19 Libra here. How are these people getting all these numbers? If you want, you can go to astro.com on your computer and then type in all your birth information. You'll get the numbers. It's your sun, your moon, the first 2 numbers, and your rising, which is called your AC. Yes, I'm back. Thank you, Alla. Sujak Canada. Follow Alla at Sujak Canada. My partner in therapy and figuring stuff out, transiting the universe of all the crazy stuff that we have been going through. Alla was there the day that we wrote the definition for fascia. Just waiting for Mr. Witecki, Chris Witecki. 21 Cap, Sag, Aries Moon. Whoa, 21 Cap. Wow. That is, that's Maura Schultz. 21 Cap. You're an Aries. Is that a different Maura Schultz? Schultz Maura. 22 Taurus. Can you reach out to Chris? Yep. Tight right side of jaw. That means you have a tight right hip and a tight right ankle. I would do the upper reset, swinger, and pullover. Upper reset, swinger, and pullover. Do ear torque maneuver. Ear torque maneuver is one of my favorites. If you grab your thumb, grab your ear, twist. Yeah, twist really hard, then open and close your jaw. Look up, open and close. Chin to chest, open and close. Look up, open and close. Look up to the left, open and close. One of my favorite ones. Lucky Giggles. Hey, Mark Harris Media. Scorpio, Sun 5 degrees, Taurus 1 rising. Anxiety day due to being overwhelmed. Any other Geminis feeling overwhelmed? That's TJ Note, feeling overwhelmed. Yay. Christopher Witecki. I need a haircut. Getting one tomorrow. Super excited about Los Angeles.
Sir.
Wow, it feels so good to be back here with you, Chris.
Thanks,
I mean,
brother.
the things that I miss, this is one of the things that I definitely miss.
These
Um, it's our
chats.
conversations every week. It's funny because I so much appreciate these conversations that we have every week. When I'm on the road, I watch you on Raw, and I don't ever get it live because I'm flying. So I sit there and I watch it at night, and I'm longing to be there talking to you.
I believe it. Yeah, totally. We went off in some great conversations. I love working with Raw. I think he's a great
Yeah,
fill-in because
yeah,
we kind of go into some like deeper, actually, ironically, some deeper Sag stuff than you take us to because
yeah.
you're very focused on your missions, and so we sort of swerve in and out of the lane.
Yeah, like I love having conversations with him because he asks the right questions.
He's a good question asker and intuitive with a logical
Yeah,
follow-up. And holds really good space as a Libra for the guest.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like his voice. I like his energy a lot.
So where are
Yeah.
you?
I'm in Denver, Colorado at the moment. Plans will be to be here until your event in Los Angeles and your Malibu event and your OC event.
I'll see if you're there. I'm there on the coming in on the 17th to Denver, and I'm speaking. I'm doing a presentation at INC on 18th.
Oh, great. So we'll talk about that. I'm pretty sure. Let me check the calendar, but I'm trying to be there for the 18th and 19th. Kept both open for you.
Yeah,
So, and then of course the Saturday I think is the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
quote
I'm
me on
flying
it.
back on the 18th. I'm flying back so I go to Denver for the
Oh,
Independent
that's weird.
National Convention,
And I'll be
and then
gone.
I'm flying back. It was a last minute thing, and then I'm also going to be the September 29th in Washington D.C. with Russell Brand and Deepak on stage with 150,000 people.
Wow, interesting. That's going to be a page turner seriously. And let's see, Deepak and Russell Brand. That's
Yeah,
quite a combination there.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
gonna be interesting.
Russell's a Gemini, so my message to him is he ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I noticed the Geminis were also reporting back that they're feeling, what was it that they said?
Anxious, anxious.
Anxious. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jupiter is raising the vibration of your thought patterns, and so and expanding them, and so you're being forced out of your old neural networks,
So
and the anxiety
the I
is holding on to the old, in
so
my opinion.
the anxiety. Well, anxiety could just be. It could be excitement, but if every time I've had that energy, I've felt anxiety, then my body's trained to it. Or if my
Mm,
body's in stress, the same hormone for excitement and anxiety, it's the same hormone. So if
mm,
I feel anxiety and I do fascial maneuvers, then I usually come into excitement.
hmm And actually, so serves a little tool to be more aware of the intention behind it, like that choice you're speaking of. You're talking about a conscious choice of perception there, that we
Yeah.
can choose it as anxiety or excitement. So in the step system, you have to step 5 is I think, step 3 is I believe. So you have to go affirm what you believe before you conclude with a thought, right? So if you believe that this is excitement because things are changing, then your thought patterns will start to migrate to that belief by nature of the architecture of incarnation. So if you don't change that belief, then your thoughts are always fighting against a core belief that disagrees with what the mind is thinking.
The challenge is that when the body's in stress, we can't perceive the belief of the positive side.
Yes, and I think also the emotions of the stress cloud, step 3 and step 1.
Yeah, for sure,
You have
absolutely.
you have a inflamed step 2.
So it has been nothing short of crazy the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been talking about this September 1st to November 18th date. And I kept telling people, you know what? It's not like something's going to blow up. It's like something's going to ramp up, and you'll feel that as we come into November 18th. Let me tell you some of the things that I've noticed.
Okay.
I've been stopped more traveling than I ever have.
Mm.
Um, all these facial recognition systems came up out of nowhere everywhere.
Yeah, they turned on like a light switch.
Yeah. August 8th, the beginning of Mercury retrograde. Not everybody, a lot of people got shadow banned or censored. A lot of people actually shadow banned. You just don't know you're shadow banned because you don't have enough volume to know. But,
Hmm.
for us, it makes a difference.
Hmm.
5 million views worth of 5,000 views. There's a little bit of a difference here.
Yes, not to mention undemocratic.
Yeah. So, and ironically, the fix for our situation, even though we've been working with it the whole time, the fix for it didn't come until the day that Mercury came out of retrograde.
Mm. I can't recall specifics, but we were under a lot of confusion and transformation. And I think Mercury retrograde direct was like a day where things cleared, but I can't cite what the issues were. It's been such a blur. I've lost
Yeah.
track of space time. I've definitely lost track of space time. I think Pluto retrograding into 29 Capricorn is something we have to talk about today.
And let's talk about it right now.
Okay, so first of all, this is what we call Pluto strikes back.
Yeah.
And we coined it that phrase because up until now, and this is intuitive as well as astrological, Pluto has been pointing out where the lines are. And excuse me, I've had a dry throat and a lot of phlegm coming up. Pluto's been pointing out where the lines ought to be. Like you've seen both sides of the line. Pluto shows you both sides of the line. And this final retrograde is sort of Pluto's enforcement of those principles. And the enforcement is always, I think, according to the planets, you must be on the side of your heart, the sun. You must obey the heart. You must obey the sun, your boss. So any boundaries that are not catered to protecting the heart, I believe, are going to begin to crumble because they're built on false foundation. Excuse me. The false foundation is, of course, the heart and what you love and what your heart wants. I know you do too, Ella. I feel you. I'm definitely coughing up like past lives or something. It's not pretty. So what I feel is going to happen is you're going to see a lot of foundations built on things other than love and creativity begin to rock.
Yeah.
In the sense of, and underneath that is the individual who has now come to a determination that they will no longer, feeling the vibration of Pluto's commandment, they no longer will tolerate loveless boundaries either.
Right.
So you have sort of a rising up of people, and that's the trend we've seen at Serious Joy. We've had a couple of, internal customer, I would say, protests, so to speak, just like not liking certain aspects. We're having a town hall meeting today to address it on a net 8 day to like, okay, we totally hear you. And, and we realize we have to change. You just hold on a second. We will. So there's definitely an air of impatience with Pluto 29, and Pluto 29 nets to 11. So this is sort of like the final note of an orchestra when you don't know if the hero is going to win or not. Like, which is like, just gets more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And what that is to me is the Grandmaster of 29. Like 29 basically encompasses every step to 29 in that moment. This is where a wizard can ascend above the 3D paradigm by applying these principles, right? When Pluto or another planet is broadcasting the 29 signal in one intention or another, Pluto's intention is, okay, we need to separate the old from the new. The 29 intention is separate, right? And so we are, I think, going to separate in many ways. Separate from employers, relationships, separate from duties and responsibilities. We've seen people step back and say, I don't want so much responsibility here or there. I don't want that responsibility. All since Pluto's 29. And unfortunately, all at once, which for me, Pluto 29 is my sixth house, my house of operations and reality. So suddenly I'm like, like totally spiritual karate, like trying to like just keep up with the requests, frankly. I'm not trying to block them. I'm trying to, put them in order. So I do think you're going to see a lot of things kind of coming apart at the seams that weren't built on love or creativity. And I put in creativity because creativity actually is a form of love, right. And so when you are a creative person, you are an artist, when you are spending time creating things, you are loving yourself and you are getting soul credit for that. So it's not necessarily to be conscious of loving or loving. It's, is your heart in a state of love in life? And are you set up with boundaries to protect that?
So, I mean, I understand the 29 aspect really well because I are it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what what would people? What are some of the things in the world that they could expect to happen between now? Like just not predicting, but just saying, here are the range of things that happen in this particular scenario with what's coming up.
I would say from one perspective is expect the unexpected,
Right.
because Capricorn is a totalitarian control over consciousness. Okay, it's the one step, step eight, that can stop blood flow. Period. Period. Like, we can make a decision, make a law, and it's a no tolerance from that law, right? And it's true of spiritual law. So people have made spiritual laws inside of themselves based on what we've been through as humans and our trauma. And those spiritual laws are staying put until we decide that we're going to move that line about where the line ought to be. That said, the stuff that has been withheld from the public, um, the policies, the agendas of the people, the very, 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 very top, 29, the
Yeah.
people who are basically driving the collective conscious in the direction that they choose to drive. These people, I think, they're finally called to respond,
Right.
right? And so as a result, there are a number of things that have been hidden as a tradition of our business in the United States all the way back to the beginning. We have Pluto in the second house. Our country has horrible boundaries with commerce. We have horrible boundaries around money, our chart says. We abuse money. We go too far. We go too little. We cheat people for money. So that's been the history of the United States since its conception, with Pluto at 27 in the United States chart. So to some degree, the United States is going to probably, like, one prediction is, there'll be some sort of a realization of where there have been power grabs, either through history or recently.
Yeah.
That's one thing anyone can expect. On the individual part, I just want to report, for me, it's like I've always tried to do the exceptional. Like you, I have a 29 pioneering spirit, and I'm being called to task in the sense that my lesson is I need to take my management style to the next level now before the business is at the next level. So I'm being told I have to jump ahead, period. There's no more, not that I was waiting for others. Truth is, I didn't have the time and space. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things. So mastering our craft, mastering our leadership. I also think you can expect brilliant strokes of power exchanges. For instance, while you were gone, a fascinating moment where Robert F. Kennedy dropped out of the race of the United States president in any state that Trump was running in a close race. And then Trump endorsed him in some sort of position if he gets elected. Now, that is compelling change of power. Like, I don't care who you believe in. That's quite a deal that we haven't seen in politics in forever. Like, that sort of power negotiation, particularly by the two sides that feel that they have the biggest obstacle ahead to beat the incumbent, right?
Right.
So fascinating five-dimensional deals is, I
Right.
think, more the exciting part of 29. Like, business deals one would have never thought, you know. So re-looking at commerce, capitalism, power, distribution of power, authority of oneself. I think all these things start to get redefined. And I'll say, lastly, finally, your people who have been, brewing under the seams forever are coming now to step in for leadership, because the vacancy, when certain things are exposed, allows those who have been chomping at the bits, cannot break the glass ceiling, to actually have a chance to be there, especially in a time if the public cannot remain calm.
So, what's interesting is that, since we talked last, a couple things that happened in our world. Like, one of them is this has been planned for a while, and it was planned before Mercury went into retrograde. But we carried through, and then we went down and did some TV in Florida, and it blew up. It got picked up by MSN, by NBC. It got 3 million online views in a couple of days. It hit 60 million households, and it went out again today. Another 60 million households. So that's a massive shift. At the same time, during that period of time, I got asked to go to DC. And by the way, I get to meet our RFK and do some fashion maneuvers with him, which would be kind of cool.
I'm totally jealous, man.
Yeah.
Go for it. Tell him I said hello.
Yeah, and you know what? And for me, I'm not on the political side, and you know that. I'm on the third option, not right, not left. You, us,
Third eye
me.
option.
Yeah,
Yeah, third
yeah.
eye.
Third eye option,
Hmm.
which is take care of myself, and we're being invited in a very nonpartisan way. We're being invited into a rally, which isn't right or left. It's really about a topic, which is some of the policies and stuff like that. So it's encouraging both sides, and that I felt comfortable with because I wouldn't have gone for a right or left. And then
Hmm.
even in Denver, when I'm there at the Independent National Convention, I'm helping them understand something called health sovereignty. It's like if we're not healthy, we make bad decisions.
Hmm.
If we make bad decisions, we elect bad people or we allow
Hmm.
bad things to happen.
Hmm.
And that's all happened since the retrograde. And just like you said, we're now it's actually forcing a change within the way that we operate. Like we're meeting right after this with our executive team, with all of our leaders. We're meeting right after this to rejig everything because our whole world flipped upside down since the last time we talked.
I think that's a very good point you make. One of the survival mechanisms of this next, quarter and a half is that the businesses that are nimble and quick, like Jack jumping over the candlestick, are going to actually be able to embrace this moment than you're slow. So, ironically, the heaviness of the bureaucracy of certain corporations
Yeah,
will not allow them to pivot on how fast the world's going to change.
yeah,
And really, I think people are going to be surprised at how quickly the narrative changes. In regard to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I know his chart intimately. He has his sun at 26 degrees Capricorn. He's a Grandmaster Capricorn.
oh,
Hmm.
wow,
And his sun conjuncts the United States Pluto 27, which means that he energetically holds the idea of how to restore integrity to the boundaries of the United States. He was born that way. He also has Chiron at 22 degrees Capricorn, which means he is a five-time champion, five-time loser, so to speak, dealing with chaos. However, as we all know, our Chiron becomes our expertise where we teach. He's past his Chiron return, which means that he has the temperament to deal with the emotional chaos that may ensue. And lastly, his track record. I mean, forget he's running for anything. I'm grateful that he's been suing, companies that are dumping into rivers. I'm grateful that he's pointing out things that make us change our hormones towards feminine or whatever. I'm grateful that someone is speaking up for just our rights. So, in that respect, I just have comment like, look at the resume; it's undeniable.
yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, and you know what? It's funny. I've had this weird vision every time I hear Russell Brand speak that something would happen, and here it is. I'm on stage, literally with him at the same time.
I have similar brand feelings. Do
Yeah.
you hear that, Russell? I have feelings for you. No, he's just someone that always hits into tickles my solar plexus. Actually, since I saw him in movies, I just sort of I know this clown. No offense, I know this
Yeah.
clown. I'm familiar with this
Have you
this
ever
point of
read his
view.
chart? His chart has
Just
got a wicked amount of mastery in it.
oh, I actually have not looked at his chart in
It
depth.
it's shocking,
Yeah,
surprising.
I bet to see everyone who's lined up. This is an all-star cast. One of the things that's happened, I'll just share with Series Joy that we're proud of is we have a network of mediums, right? So we have friends who connect to the Pleiadians and uh, Saint Germain, and we're connects to Mary Magdalene. Really powerful. And they channel, and these are channels like Bashar. That's their goal. They're going out in the world and channeling these entities. But we have received personal messages from several from above, unrequested, coming in through meditation, as if suddenly heaven is directly working with Sirius Joy. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Directly with Sirius Joy, it's undeniable. But to me, it's that 29 Capricorn too, which is the infusion of heavenly intelligence with earthly experience. We lost that connection in Atlantis, and so now I'm really happy to say that I feel like we have Ascendant Masters on our board of directors, right?
Yeah, yeah, I feel the
Assisting.
same way.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sure. No, there's no
there's
question.
a shift. So let's break it down.
All
That's
right.
the container that we're working in. Let's talk about the next 7 days. So today is Capricorn day, which really is karmic, about embodiment. It's really feeling everything like that. I mean I feel that today. So let's go from today onward.
Okay, so first the context. We start with step 17. Ultimately, like the phases of this life, we are becoming and realizing our evolved selves. That's what's happening in Virgo. We are evolving. And because it's Virgo, it really is evolving. Aquarius is ascension. Pisces is compassion. It's an evolution of who we are and how we materialize. And we have the most data we've ever had on ourselves in our entire lifetime. So we're creating this new rendition of ourselves with the most knowledge and experience that we've ever had. That's the premise. Now, part of the discomfort is it's very uncomfortable because it's upsetting where your energy, your weight, all the things in your life lie, right? We've already worked on becoming the new person to ourselves. We were polishing that. But last week we started looking at our life. Based on this new integrity, am I going to tolerate this, 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 this? Do I belong dealing with this? Do I belong dealing with that? So we were last week exploring what our heart feels we deserve or don't deserve. And the Pluto 29 adds that like flavor of deserve or don't deserve. There's an extra boost from Pluto that says, and that's the way it should be always, kind of thing, like this final line that goes down. So what I think is a final declaration. Today at step 17, you have to make now the choice of the reality that you want to live in, right? And this reality is all the rules of what will become real and what will not become real. But under that, I've been talking to our Serious Story clients. We're changing the name. We've been talking basically about the fact that when you make new this new creation, you have to be very clear of your step zero, your step zero and your step three at the very bottom. That is, do you hold and protect and believe, step three, that you are the master of reality? Or do you hold and protect and believe that you are a subject to reality's demands? So there's a core belief here I don't think you'll go forward with unless you are drinking the Kool-Aid and deciding you're Harry Potter. I don't feel you're going to be effective in the changes, the potential changes about to happen, because you have contrary beliefs working against each other in your system, and and that's the way it works. So you have to have that premise in place. Today you commit, tomorrow you act. Step 18. Wednesday you hold space, and you allow it to come to master level. From 19 to 20, the master level it goes from a commitment and actions into this feeling overwhelming you. And so part of the latter half of the week is on step 20, which is Thursday, you emotionally start to feel where all this is leading. And because of the secretive nature of Capricorn, we all don't know really what it's going to feel like on the other side of this transition. I don't think we've been leaked this. It has been leaked in the press. It hasn't been explored, and we haven't felt this for centuries as far as power. So the sun actually squares Jupiter at step 20 on Thursday, which means you'll come to an intersection where the ideas that you've been sprouting and running with may actually not be in concert with your heart and feelings. Jupiter has fertilized Gemini with just unlimited possibilities and directions to explore everywhere. If you've been exploring those directions on merely intellectual curiosity, and you have not also affirmed that direction with your heart and feelings, then you could have built yourself quite a interesting intellectual structure that will not manifest anything. It's just a skeleton of ideas. It's not harnessed with love and passion and combined with that. So for some, it will be back to the drawing board. You'll realize on Thursday, you developed a great idea that your heart doesn't really like.
Right.
Right? Like when you get in, like I want that job, I want that job. And then you actually do the job and you're like,
that today, Chris. I had an inkling of that today. The question came up in my head as I'm doing something, and I go, oh, I know that question.
right. And I think with Jupiter and Gemini, this is the way God works in the sense of, yeah, grow my child, think with unlimited beliefs and ideas. But then there comes a crossroads of like, oh, too far, like where you've lost touch with your heart. You've lost touch with your feelings. Therefore, this isn't going to work. And, the real life example is, this is a great idea, but now that I'm here, like now that I feel it, step 20 with a zero, I don't want this feeling. I don't want that feeling. So, some people still, because of where we are on the planet, some people will double down on that idea that's so brilliant, but it's not connected to anything real. And so those people will have a difficulty bringing fruit to that tree, if you will. And, eventually we'll hit some sort of a dead end because it's not built on consciousness. It's built on ideas only.
So on Friday, we should be pushing through a boundary, a belief in what we're going to do, right? Something like that.
Even late Thursday night that actually shifts. And so what happens is that step 21, when it starts to get fun in Virgo, is when the new, basically you get on top of the mountain of 20, because it's a mountain all the way up to 20. And I say step 21 is when it starts to get fun because honestly, it's all work from 0 to 20. It's only 21 that you actually see the view from the mountain you've been climbing. And that beautiful view re-inspires you with 2 and the 1. The heart is re-inspired. Now, there's 2 ways you can go, though. You could get to the top and look out and see nothing but a desert, right? And so there can be a major disappointment at step 20 as well, that life is not going in the direction that you wanted to go. And so then the 21 goes retrograde, so to speak, and the person must internalize, like, where have I fooled myself? How did I end up lost? Like, how did this happen? So there's so at that point, it sort of separates proficient from master path,
Yep.
and a lot of us are back to the drawing board at 20. In fact, I tend to die at 19, actually. 20
Yeah.
is 20 is a step that I'm like learning now.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
and then Saturday is 22, which I would interpret it's bringing in all of the things that I didn't see, all the other states of awareness, the epiphanies, all the stuff that I can bring in if I'm open to receive it, right?
Yes, that's definitely a way to look at it. And I kind of feel like a tarot card. It's sort of 22 is like the tarot card flips over, and the answer is the Tower. Like there's a surprise there in my intuition. There's a surprise there. Why is there a surprise? If you swap out DOS for Mac or for a new operating system, which is what Capricorn is, it is ultimately all the rules of how the human operates. Right? I believe the step system is a human operating system. Really, it's how we
Yes.
operate consciously. So we're getting a human operation upgrade,
We were at
and just like it,
two there for a second, by the
brilliant.
way.
Oh, and like every upgrade, there are features you cannot imagine after the upgrade. There are
Right.
things that just weren't possible because it was built on a different kernel.
Yeah.
So I believe 22 is a surprise. Not always a surprise. It's the incident where it's a surprise. Like, and the reveal is she's your wife. Like, oh my God. Or go back to the drawing board. Or that's not quite what I was going for. But ultimately, what you kind of get is a perspective of where you belong in this next world. Either way, you know where you won't belong, or you know where you do belong. So it's kind of a triangulation, and then we go into step 23 on Sunday. Oh, by the way, Venus trines Gemini. So Venus trining Gemini takes the place of the 20 of the sun before. So we have another 20 moment. So that another 20 moment, minor, but still another 20 moment where we get the chance to kind of go, oh, am I in the right place? And dip our hand back into 20, sort of feel around with Venus there. But also Venus there then goes, brings in the emotion of, I'm lost, or brings in the emotion of I'm found, excitement or anxiety, right? Where we started with these 2 choices. And from that emotional affirmation of, because you have to feel your way through the ascension, it cannot be intellectually calculated except for rules, because the mind has never studied this before and absorbed the information, right? So, and we forgot the last time. So step 23 on Sunday is this new vision for the future, your
And
future.
and then with that new vision for the future, that's we're going to be in our heads on Sunday, I would imagine. Lots of thought about it. We're going to be feeling what we believe, thinking about both sides, and probably people are going to want to talk about it on Sunday. They're probably going to want to get on the phone and call everybody.
Yeah, make announcements,
Yeah.
vocalize it. And that's one way to affirm its manifestation, is to put the thought on an idea, to broadcast a thought and idea. Broadcasting is part of step 23.
And then
But
then on Monday we're Monday, all of the stuff that was not in balance is gonna start pulling back in all the loose ends. Kind of like artwork, pulling together the creativity of Virgo and showing us how to embody everything that we've been working on.
yes, there's a couple of things that happens on Monday, which is interesting. The truth is that from your decision, whether it leads to your happiness or your content or your unhappiness, or not really liking the outcome, step 20s are all about your emotions. Okay, so your emotions are on board from every moment from the final end, to the end of the race. Okay, and having your emotions on board brings liquidity to reality. Liquidity, like quicksand. So come 24, my third eye is seeing, oh shit, everyone left the ship, and now it's leaning like, whoa, like what are we gonna do? Like I do think that enough people change the gravity of certain structures that there is a moment of like, oh shit, hold on the railing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there is there's a stabilizing that happens. Venus also crosses Chiron at the same moment at 22 degrees, which basically saying, yep, you got to swallow this pill. You ain't number one no more. Like there's a pill to swallow. There's a pill to swallow that may or may not taste great. You know what I mean? Like at the same time. So it's a real wake up call to where things are going now. You know, and that
So,
is followed by a full moon, lunar eclipse, which you can talk about if you
yeah,
like.
when is the lunar eclipse? That's on Tuesday?
Tuesday the 17th, apexing at 8:34 p.m. Eastern time. It's a step 25 Grandmaster full moon in Pisces 25 lunar eclipse that
Oh my
conjuncts Neptune.
God. You know what's happening on Thursday for me?
2 days later.
Well, no, Thursday I'm People Magazine is interviewing me. And
Wonderful.
then and that just now it makes sense. And I'm also flying to Denver for the INC. I'm just flying there,
On
flying back.
That's Thursday.
Yeah,
That's
17th.
Thursday. Thursday is the action that follows the epiphany. So
Wow.
like, so the epiphany is the eclipse. Ultimately, the way we see it is on our team is officially you surrender. So a lunar eclipse kills the entire step, kills it. It's like defragging and reformatting the hard drive of step 25. That's what it is.
Right.
So a lunar eclipse of step 25 says the spiritual mission that was encoded to your spiritual hard drive is now erased. You are free to re-upload what your spiritual mission shall be, right? Based on what your mind feels is true, 5 to the 2, that's 7. So 26 is the next day. 26 is, okay, what's the new thought where you're uploading? What's the new spiritual mission what path do you choose to take? It's like a virtual reality game, which, I love to do like a reality show based on the step numbers. It's step 26. What path will you take? Because at that moment, it's, you have to choose what you feel. Step 2, your heart. Step 6, open up to and accept as a part of you the vibration that you identify with, that you relate with. You accept this is the vibration I relate with. And then net 8, you seal that deal. You put your wax symbol on it. And so that's it. You've turned in your soul work and made your decisions. And now the liquidity of reality, the liquidity of power, which is Pluto 29, you've just chosen in that time what your power shall be, right? And honestly, Pluto goes into Aquarius, back in Aquarius, 18, 19, depending on where you are in the world. And so honestly, that's your last chance because Virgo is this I'll become. Libra is I will now bounce that into reality. Scorpio is I'll now close the door, close the hatch, and blast off. So that's it. We don't have another Earth sign with Pluto and liquidity. That Capricorn, Pluto will be in Aquarius by then. And so at that point, you have to now, file some paperwork to make change, right?
And then, it's interesting because I just look at the timing. 19 is when that happens. And that's the VIP donation dinner. That's our first step at making a regular format for people who want to donate and help with our mission in a bigger way.
That's on the 18th, right?
Yeah. No, that's actually on the 19th.
Okay,
18th is, yeah,
perfect.
18th I'm speaking in Denver, coming back on the afternoon, evening of the 18th.
Great. I'll be at the Malibu. I'm at your disposal for the Malibu if you like.
Yeah, I mean,
I made sure of it.
we're still there. Everybody's still there. I have to jet out to Denver for the engagement and then jet back.
Got it. Living on a jet plane. When the sun goes to 27 on Thursday, it trines Uranus retrograde at 27 in Taurus. So
It trines Uranus community retrograde 27 Taurus.
right.
So it's basically making the manifestation happen in community. Would that be a way of
Yeah,
saying it?
yeah. Or changing society.
Oh, well,
Or
that works. That's a good day for me.
yeah, changing the structure of society. But because Uranus is retrograde, and the sun is direct at 26 Capricorn, and we're uploading our new thoughtware to the cloud, um, probably what Uranus retrograde is saying is like, okay, I guess we're not going to build this, build this, build this, build this, build this. Like, we're going to sort of pull away from a lot of our intentions to build because we had not yet liberate ourselves from the current control system.
Yeah.
So when we were building that building, we were still like tiptoeing, like as far as what we were going to build and how we're going to. It was based on a lot of avoidance versus, what is, right? So I think a lot of the new generation is going to go back into the drawing board for some upgrades now that we have an understanding of the power that we are going for, or the influence we're going for.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's so funny. Like years ago, I like tell me the steps so I can plan everything out. Now I just like, to your advice, I just plan what I'm going to do, and I confirm it with the steps. And the steps, it's just amazing how
Oh
everything
my
that we're
God.
doing just matches exactly what it's supposed to.
It amazes us too. Like our team today said, today's like quote was like, I'm boss again or something, right? And so we actually ended up just our town hall meeting that releases all of our policies just happened to happen on Monday. We don't plan it by the step system. We plan it by when's the people available, which to us is like what the universe is already revealing the holes in the pockets for, right? And then find out this is step 17 day, and we do the same thing all the time. We're like, holy shift,
Yeah.
It's incredible how synchronous it really is. This counting game.
So let's extend. That's the week.
Okay.
Let's push this a little bit further because we're in this control mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to keep reminding people about what's coming because we've been talking about this moment for 9 months, like every day, every week. And people were, well, I don't know. And they're just kind of living their lives. And I'm like, you guys, it's going to change. Stuff is going to change. And it is right now. It's changing right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So as we move past November 18th, and we move in through December into Capricorn and into Aquarius, all the way into April, up into April, it gets pretty chunky and tension building, right?
Within, um, the outer world shows a stop down, complete
Yeah.
stop down. I've taken December off because I don't really feel I can make a difference in that energy. People are Mercury retrograded in Leo. Mercury retrograded, excuse me, Mercury's retrograded. Mars retrogrades in Leo into Cancer. So our ego and our mind retreating. So if our ego and our mind are retreating, everyone has a little bit of a scratch of the head as far as what the next play is. And it looks like that we kind of have a clarity of what the next play is around Sep 28 Capricorn. So if you look at it from the astrology, Virgo's like, okay, we're taking down this reality, we're building up this one. And then Capricorn's like, well, if that's the case, change this rule, change that rule, this rule changes, So there's this like scramble of all the formal decisions and commitments have to change in Capricorn, while Mars is retrograding in the sense of, well, if my heart wants this, then I got to like go back and do this and do that. And Mercury's like, if I want this, I have to rethink this and think that. So it's not until Mars goes direct, which I wish I had it memorized. Robbie told us today. I believe it's February 23rd when Mars retrogrades, but don't quote me completely on that.
So
it's in
what
that
you're
range.
talking about, January 20th to February 23rd is going to be all of these thoughts coming back of what I got to do, what I got to think about.
Yeah, I honestly feel like after as soon as Mars goes retrograde, and I can look up here the exact date, and Mercury retrogrades, you pretty much don't know what to think through the holidays.
Right.
I don't think you know what to think. And we can just say that with the president, election in the United States, that's our monocle. That's the one that will make part of the population happy or not happy, right? And those who are happy are still hoping that it can happen what they're voting for, and those who are unhappy are wondering, can it happen what they lost at, right? So I think in our country we are in a conundrum, and from the top down. But I think for an individual, it's like, how am I going to navigate in these changing times? Like, how am I going to do it? What should I do? What are the priorities? And then when Capricorn hits, what are the steps?
So when we talk about going in through April and June, May and June, the intensity of the energy of the World War I, World War II, and the Civil Revolution
Mhm.
are there. Now, I don't perceive war, but I perceive that the internal war or the war of perception is going to peak then.
Um, I would say so. I wonder how perceptive people will be, but you could say that the rules that were made under the Constitution are literally under threat because there's a consideration of changing how we control things from the top.
Yeah.
So this is a moment really of this is the test of the United States, as to whether or not it will live to its original dream after one Pluto return, right? That makes sense to me. And what was your
Yeah.
initial question?
Yeah. No, no, no. That makes perfect sense. I just,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about our tour is scheduled to go all the way till May, and we're we're now having a lot of friction and the last part of this year in our bookings, and it's giving us a chance to rethink and say, maybe we should focus our energies in our primary market for right now. Like there's been this immediate friction that's come up out of nowhere, and we're like pivoting, like on a dime, and that's a
So are
cool.
we.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to be able to do that, but I can only imagine if we're feeling this, everybody else is. Like, what do I do? Like the plans that people have going into, and this is what I recommend to people. If you're having plans that go into late October, November, and December, and those plans seem to be having friction, it's time to step back and rethink.
Totally step back and rethink. And Mercury actually retrogrades November 25th. So right after Thanksgiving, we're like, I don't know what to think about the big picture of the world. It retrogrades at 25 degrees Sag backwards. So basically, our entire faith is questioned. Okay. Faith in life, faith in God, faith in everything is completely questioned. Like, I don't even know if I can believe this anymore. This is bullshit. And I think, people are feeling that legitimately because depending on how hard you've been holding on to antiquated belief structure, this could be a major wake up call, right? That makes people question everything who have been doubling down on the same narrative, right? If you've been open to like, we'll see what it's going to be. And then Mars stations retrograde on December 6th. So pretty much, and then Mars will go direct. I'll look up the direct date. But pretty much that's thoughts and ego are down right after Thanksgiving. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to think, right? Now,
Wow.
for people like us, I think the retrograde is a reorganization. We always reorganize in a retrograde.
Yeah.
We do software updates in a retrograde. We implement ideas in a retrograde. It's great because everyone's like distracted. And we're like, don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And we're like putting together the new set or whatever. So it's perfect. I think for those who are on a mission, here's the thing. I talked about this in the beginning. Pluto is going to reveal a leadership gap everywhere. Like everywhere. Like, no one's looking at that, right? And from that gap and vacuum, and also it could also be, so and so was a crook, so it leaves this vacuum of which you have a gold rush of leadership racing to fill in that gap, right? Sort of like the internet boom. It was like, who's going to be the search engine? Who's going to be the premier email? Who's going to be the premier portal? Like who's going to have the most, so it was that race. So I do think it starts a great race. And, one of the things that we've been doing internally is I saw someone here in the comments saying, we're in a spiritual war. I disagree
Yeah,
with the
I don't
word
think so.
war. War is the old way. We're in a spiritual race. That's what we're
Yes, it's an
in.
awakening. It's a spiritual awakening, and people are either falling back or they're getting ahead, and they're feeling that the boundaries of that falling back are getting ahead in their bodies, their emotions, their thoughts, and their perceptions.
Yes, I would agree with that, all that. I feel most people are awake or ready now, and there are droves waiting to jump in once they see someone jump in.
Now, what
So you have your
about what about people that I get this a lot. So they tell me the good things, and I'm like, this in the context of it all, it's all good. So I'm like, okay, I was talking to somebody today. He says, "Well, you told me all the good things. You didn't tell me the bad things." And I'm like, "Yeah, but telling you the bad things, like we are in this position of change in the first time in human history where it actually almost makes sense to be alive. So what bad could happen? Well, I mean, I may not adapt to it. I mean, the good things are happening. I may not accept it. And if I don't accept it, I'm going to have a problem.
Correct. And actually, so our position, I've had that criticism too. You're positive and there's no the shadow. My response is, I'm not here to tell you the shadow. Your life will tell it to you very clearly. I don't want to put any of our attention in this master scene on your shadow. I'm here to completely highlight the solution and the solution only. And when you're feeling weak, come to me. I will, again, promote the solution and help you choose between these two positions. But I'm not going to bring my consciousness to that, right? Like it's unnecessary and it actually slows us down.
Yeah. So
I think a momentum to climb is the best.
So what are you saying to people like right now in the overall context of what's happening? How do you tell them to because it's this roller coaster and it creates this fear because there's uncertainty. So what is it that you tell them in that uncertainty to do?
I actually apply the step 29 approach, which is you're going to unknown territory, right? So imagine if we were explorers and we land on a planet, okay? We land on a planet, a brand new planet, because that's what we're about to land on. You have no knowledge, no data, no scans, nothing. You're just basically a pioneer like Lewis and Clark. When you're in that new setting, you have to be ready to respond, 9, to your emotional needs at any moment. So if you feel like you should get away from there, go. If you feel like you should go, go. If you feel like you should turn right, go. Like you have to turn into your spiritual navigation system inside of you. Then step 29 nets to an 11, which means while you're in that process of responding to your feelings, there's another version of you that is loving yourself and loving yourself some more, loving yourself and loving yourself some more. Or another way to look at that is, do I love this feeling? Do I love where I'm going? Do I love this feeling? Do I love where I'm going? So the compass of self-love and love some more prevents you from straying off any course you're supposed to be. And then on top of that is a 2. On top of that, so it's a pyramid 29. And the 2 is actually how you actually run this huge tractor that bulldozes through the world. Is that in all that going on, the mechanics of what I just described, respond to your feelings, loving yourself, these are mechanics. These are conscious mechanics. By the way, on Thursdays, watch Astro Mechanics with Christopher Techie. But these are the conscious mechanics. And the way you monitor it is you sit on top of all the mechanics and you sort of like a guru, feel the entire ride.
So people that like there's been some changes to your platform, which has made it way more accessible for people.
Thank you.
People can go and get, which is really cool. So
Thank you.
how can people go and use the platform now? Because you've made a lot of it free, so people can get free information.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about how that works and how they can get it.
Well, our first intention was to be the timekeeper of the step system. So what is the step date? What is the step time? So, we're kind of like providing the recalibration of the grandfather clock of step system. So you have a place to go. Underneath that, we have the ability for you to click the next 3 days ahead. And when you click up to 3 days ahead, you're seeing in the timeline any relevant aspects going on for free. So like, the square I talked about will be listed there and how to handle it. So free advice on the aspects in the weather. Then we have a new thing called the Daily Download with Heather Exposito, where we have constructed our message of the day to be very simple, short and sweet, under 3 minutes, extremely simple, assuming you know nothing about what we do and nothing about the step system. That goes out every day for free. And many of our subscribers actually start that as an appetizer to my pep talk.
Yes.
Because she brings sort of a very kindergarten step 0, 1, 2, 3, step 0, 1, 2. So that's the footprint. And we call that level, step 0 through 2. We now call that Joy Garden.
Right.
So we've segregated kind of like our instruction platforms to focus on groups of the sets based on 0 through 2 years of service. And so now we're catering and like horizontally expanding in content based on that grading system. So people have a real understanding of where they are, how far they can go, and what will they achieve if they continue climbing.
So there's a lot of people that are on this that watch us regularly. They probably don't even know that they can go get this. So go to seriousjoy.com and you'll see it right there. You have to go in a Google browser.
Yes, or Firefox. Safari is creating problems.
Yeah,
so we're working on it.
Google or Firefox, and then you can go right there and you can look at the steps. And And first of all, that's super valuable because people before they buy into investing themselves into all the information, it
Hmm.
really helps if they know the step of the day and they're able to look at it. Now, I live on a step day. I don't even know what day of the month it is on any given day, but I know the step day every day.
Me
And,
too. I
and
live by the step system.
that's taken me collectively, actively, that's taken me about 3 years to make that to the point where I don't even know the days anymore. And sometimes I don't even know the months. I have to ask what month it is because I know it's Virgo, step 18 or 17 or 19 or whatever.
Hmm. Totally. No, it's so. I'll tell you right now. Upon applying it to your life, first of all, you're not going to argue with any of it. Every step makes sense. And when you look within and you look for that step active, you'll see that is active in your soul. You'll be kind of blown away. It's like, I can't believe. Like, I thought I had free will. Like, you thought you had free will, but you do. The choices you make create a unique story. But we all take the step together as a collective consciousness. It's part of the co-creation of the universe. All of us, particularly emotional generators, are what actually keeps the matrix alive. And we are all connected telepathically to these points of presences. We are generating the reality. That's the hidden secret. And so if you get in step with the reality as it unfolds and it cycles, then you are now in a place to command it at your will.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I want people to hear. If you're following the step system, you know what's happening on any given day. If you know the energy of the day, you react without fear and without worry, you react with confidence. And if more people react with confidence, then the collective consciousness is altered.
And honestly, we say this, don't take my word for it, try it. I mean, you have to see in your own life for you to really believe in this, and you have to be willing to step out of your operating system now and consider another operating system. Like the way you consciously, it's giving order to how we manage our consciousness. It's putting a hierarchy into which part of our consciousness ought to fire at what time. And it's also giving us the mathematics of consciousness merging with consciousness. When you bring two states of awareness or two together, you can create a third. That's the next step. So two make a third. That's also profound, in my opinion, and like towards the 5D. So we're starting to map out through numbers, which we call steps, how reality is actually encoded. The code underneath our conscious mirage we call reality.
Okay, so somebody knows nothing about astrology, and a lot of them actually watch this and don't really understand it. What are the first steps that they should take in order to start to learn?
The truth be told is you actually, we're moving to a model, Gary, which you'll probably agree with, that you don't have to. Like you don't have to. The steps are applied and we can tell you what to apply when, where. And so that's one of the things we're doing in Joy Garden is like, we're not going to talk a lot about astrology in Joy Garden. We're going to give all the citations so it starts repeating in your head, but we're not going to focus you or ground you, just dizzy you in that system. Because honestly, it's many things that all come together. We're like, to us, astrology is the footprint tool,
Yeah,
but you have numerology that complements. You have sacred
yeah.
geometry that tells you how consciousness add and subtract. You have intention building. You have connecting your spirit, psychic development. There's a whole like rainbow of services that we want to provide. And really what we're doing today, I'll just announce it, is like we're restructuring ourselves to be an incubator of human evolution. That's sort of what we are. We're here to incubate how to evolve, come into the incubation. We will help you develop into who you are, and you'll help us develop into a better platform because we think it's a co-creation. And from this point forward, our pronoun is we.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been called on that a couple times recently, and I'm like,
The I.
yes, my pronoun is we.
Yes, we. And that's we
We.
and we. Yes, we and we. Yeah, that's a joke, but that's actually, I think, the way it has to be. If we're not considering the other in our decision, we're not actually in full power.
No, I agree.
It's a very simple dynamic. And the fact that we have, squeezed the power of poverty and ascended the power of the wealthy and created that separation, that is not the natural state of God consciousness or how the earth was designed. And so it will fall upon itself. So inside, we're not talking about, we have no interest in saving the structures that exist now. We have no interest in consulting the structures that exist now that don't come to us
Yeah.
first. Like,
I
you have to
mean,
come to us. Yeah.
I'm looking at this. It's coming down like a house of cards. I can see it already. I can see the music industry coming down like a house of cards. I can see Hollywood coming down like a house of cards. people may be believing in politics, the political system, or the truth behind the political system is being revealed right now, and I think the election is going to bring it out. The government systems are being revealed. People, all kinds of people are going to Antarctica. Like it's everything at once. It's
Mhm.
every conspiracy theory you ever thought of coming at you right now.
Yes, and then what that is Pluto at 29 is revealing, usually by a mistake. People will make a mistake subconsciously, push the wrong button.
Yeah,
Something very tiny. God like works with a very like ding. There is no like wrath and thunder. It is simply like whoops, like, and then the whole thing collapses. But we're not focusing on that because we feel like we have to restructure the ego. So Mars and Leo to us is the retrograde. It's not no longer about winning and losing. It's no longer about wars or conflict.
yeah,
It's a race. That ego energy must be redirected to a race, and really the race is to build the new world before the old world collapses and becomes extremely uncomfortable. We want to have something up and ready for people who are going to what's the word, opt out.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure. Always is. Thank you for the update. Everybody, hang on. I got to tell you about a couple of things. Chris, we'll see you shortly next week or this week.
Thank you, brother.
Next
Love
week.
you all.
If you haven't done it yet, we have fascial release out. Fascial release is Power Cook 30 with BDNF, brain derived nootropic factors. It is insane. If you haven't tried it, you have to try it. What it does is the Power Kirk is the world's strongest anti-inflammatory. What it does is the BDNF pushes new movement patterns. So like if I got a shoulder issue and I had to drink like this every time I drank because I couldn't use my shoulder, taking the inflammation out lets the part move, but I have the old pattern, movement pattern. This actually clears up the movement pattern the very first time that you take it. Also, if you haven't done it yet, we've extended the hands-on. It's in Orange County and also in Minnesota. Those two hands-on that we're doing. We've made more space in Orange County because of demand. And if you haven't done it yet, we have, and that's on the 14th. On the 21st is the main event. And if you know anybody who is able to donate, they're going to spend an afternoon, evening with us personally. The four founders, we're going to be working with 16 people. We're going to be moving together, working together, cooking together, eating together, and bringing everything together. This is the donation series. These are to help people that have money that want us to expand. We're getting ready to expand into Europe and Asia. The tour has been unbelievable. And what we want to do is bring more languages, more support. We want to bring supplements there. And that's what we're starting this series for. It's $8,000 per person. So this is a donation event. And it's meant to encourage people. That's a minimum donation. If you have more, please. We appreciate it. Every time. Last year we had $175,000 single donation, which literally changed our world. And we're looking for that same thing this year. But go to our website and check out all the new stuff. Okay. Looking forward to seeing everybody over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be in LA, then in Minnesota. We are going to be going to Rescue the Republic on September 28th and 29th. Then we're going to be in Miami. We're going to be in Miami beginning of October through our Miami event on the 5th. We have a media fusion event. We have a dinner there. So check out our website for everything that's coming on. Looking forward to to seeing everybody on the road. Thank you so much.